Hey. What's up, guys? Node Investor here. Welcome, everyone. Gonna get some people in the chat here going. I'm watching the updates real time. We'll be taking a look at the charts. I'm just getting back from a little bit of downtime, a few days off, a little bit of vacation time. I actually went a few days without even looking at the charts, without checking anything out. It was kind of weird, but kind of refreshing. You know, you got to do that from time to time, especially in this crazy 24/7 market. As I always say, take some time off. You got to schedule your own time off. I generally will slow down on the weekends anyway and not do a whole lot of trading just because during the middle of the week or throughout the week, it's just busy with the markets going and with stocks and a bunch of other projects I'm working on. So weekends are kind of some refresh time. So we're just getting started here. If you've just joined, bear with me here. I'll get to the charts here in a minute. I'm going to let some folks come in here for a little bit. This was kind of a impromptu live stream. I figured I'd just do it live instead of updating a video and doing the editing and the cutting and all that fun stuff. I said, let's just go live. I'm going to do the live chart reviews and check out some alts that I'm looking at here, see what's going on. Bitcoin, for the most part, it looks like the last few days have been the typical spastic Bitcoin. So, but there's a lot of alts that are looking pretty decent, to be honest with you. So I'll take a look at a lot of those here shortly. Let me post this real quick here. And we will get to it. And of course, throw your names out there if you want me to look at anything in particular. Any charts? Alright. Cool. Alright, let's get on this here. So looking at Bitcoin first and foremost, of course, there's a couple of big takeaways here, right? We saw this big move here, what is that now? A week and a half ago, 2 weeks, end of October essentially, and it's just been in consolidation, pullback mode here over the last couple of days, and then we saw this big shakeout, pop, a little bit of a drop here today. If we zoom into the lower time frames, this is the 4-hour view BTC, and this is on Coinbase. All in all, I mean, the big picture, the daily chart is really what I've been focused on. It's coming into some support that we really want to see this price hold if it's going to remain bullish. But the fact that it's taken so long to follow through after that initial spike that we saw here, it's a little bit concerning for the bulls, right? It should have been a little bit more of a bull flag type of action where you see the big spike, a little bit of coolback period, maybe a little bit of a shakeout, and then get going. Now we could still see that, but it has been a little bit long now, right? If you look at how long this has taken, this is going on day 16 after the big spike, the blow off, or whatever we want to call that, massive short squeeze. Going on day 16, so it's 2 weeks into that, following that big move. If we go to the weekly chart here, we can see that weekly chart on that one particular week was a very bullish reversal, bullish engulfing weekly candle. It undercut the prior weeks, it undercut the prior support range. This also was at some key support level, which we were looking at here. And it ended on the high notes towards that week, right? It ended up on higher volume. And the last 3 weeks have been on declining volume. Now the current week just got started, so the volume here doesn't really matter, but the prior 2 weeks have been on declining volume, and it's kind of pulling into this support zone that I want to see it hold. So it's still in play on the weekly chart. You can still see this is a little bit of a bull flag popping, but it needs to turn this week, in my opinion, for it to really start to look a little bit more bullish. Otherwise, could be a flash in the pan move, and then we'll look to see if we make some more downside testing here. But at this point, it is still potentially forming a higher low on that daily chart. I have this support zone drawn out here, and it's really the kind of level of last resort that I've been wanting to see it hold above on a daily closing basis. Now, the current daily candle, for all intents and purposes, it's done now. How much time is left? It's basically, it's 2 minutes left. So basically the day is done. It's closed here. The last daily candle right there, which, today's low was at around 8,600. The high being around 9K here following. So that little zone is what I've been wanting to see it hold above, basically that 8,600 to 8,800 level, and it's right smack in the middle right now. We'll see if this can finally pop off that level. If it doesn't, then you've got a couple of pullback levels to be watching. But like I said, in the big picture, it's not going to look well as far as a follow-through move from this prior big pop to the upside, because at this point it's been 2 weeks going on 3, and we want to see this move out. Now on the upside, what I'd like to see, if it does reverse, I want to see it close on the daily basis above that 9K level again and start to take out this little zone, this little shakeout level that it's been doing. And we could pretty much see the completion of this little pullback here and then start to get above. But again, the level to be watching here is that 9K 9200 level. Getting back above that was prior resistance for the last several days. Getting back above that, it's going to start to look a lot more positive in terms of the bulls. Now, big picture, I'm still leaning bullish on Bitcoin. Big picture, when I say big picture, just kind of zooming out the big daily chart. It's been in pullback mode since that mid-June top. And the fact that it pulled back to a very key, very important support level and had that massive reversal from keeps me in bullish mode. Now, of course, that can change tomorrow, right? If we see a big spike down and the volume starts coming in and it looks like it's over, sure. I mean, that's what trading is. You're looking at the next level down. You're looking at the next data point. Every candle is another level. But big picture mode, I'm still liking the big volume. The pullback, for the most part, has been on lower volume. Last couple days have been a little shaky here, but a lot of the alts are still holding up well. So in the big picture, still watching that, holding up okay. The weekly chart has some potential, but again, needs to start showing some follow through, break into the upside again. 9200 and then 9500 are the next two levels on the way up. So that's what I'm looking at on the way up. Of course, on the way down, major support is going to be that big reversal point. Above that, you're looking at around 8K, right? Psychological is going to be where you want to see it hold, but personally, I don't want to see it get that far down. It'll start to look a little bit more bearish if it does. So the big level that I was pointing out here that highlighted support around 75 also lines up with just kind of the broader Fibonacci retracement pullback. If you look at wick to wick here, let me line it up. So the December 2018 low, the June peak, the 618 retracement puts you right around that $7,200–$7,300 level, and that's where we saw that big shakeout followed by that big reversal. And so the fact that a lot of those support levels line up, the volume that came in right after that, all of that keeps me longer term, big picture, still leaning bullish in the favor of Bitcoin here for the most part. So that's it for the BTC. Do we really want to look at the lower time frames right now? Let's see here. I mean, 9K, 9200, that's really your next resistance level, and then big resistance is going to be, can you close above this here, which is, call it 9500. That's it for the BTC side. Let's go to some of the other charts. So looking at the alts are a little bit more interesting in my opinion. As long as Bitcoin continues to linger, we tend to see that, right? Some of the alts just have nice moves. I've kind of just been cycling in and out of different positions here. Last week, Atom was my big trade. Looks like I jumped off a little bit too early on that one, but nonetheless turned out to be a very nice trade for me, and rode most of this on the way up. Didn't capture that last bit as I've been out for the last few days, so I've missed this last couple of days of move, but nonetheless, a pretty good move here. That's Cosmos, Atom, BTC. I came in from the BTC side, but if you look at it from the USD side, pretty much the same chart, breaking out here, still looking positive. Had that little shakeout on that Kraken side here. Let's go to the Tether, USD Tether side. Here's Binance, right? So looking at Atom, 340 was that breakout point, hitting 430 now, almost $1 up. And next level up here, I mean, you're looking at maybe, if it keeps going, it's feeling a little extended right now, but if it keeps going, $5, 520 is kind of the next level. RSI on the daily is starting to get up there, so I'd be careful, but the trend is your friend. The moving averages here have continued to act as a level of support along the way up, have not seen a close below that 22 EMA on that 4-hour chart, and so all those pullbacks into that moving average pair, generally that's a nice little trend following strategy, buying in the dips, waiting for that MACD or RSI to start ticking higher, and so far staying with the trend. But like I said, I got out a little bit too early, so out of the Atom trade, but was still a profitable trade, not going to complain. Some of the other names that are on the list here. Let me go to my other screen here. What's trending today here? And again, I'm coming in fresh from a break, so I'm going to use my own tools here to see what's going on here. Neo is showing up on the radar. How's Neo looking? Neo's looking good. Neo had that little break, that ascending triangle, showing some follow through here on the BTC pair. Nice little breakout here today on the daily candle. 4 hours popping back here a little bit, but Neo is looking pretty good. So Neo BTC, Neo USD, how's that looking here? Neo USD, oh, nice. Looks like a breakout setup here. I would call 1140, maybe 1145. That's basically your USD tether breakout level. Starting to close above that looks very positive. On the downside, I mean, if you zoom in here on the 4-hour chart, it's pretty flat when you zoom out, but you know, 1090, 1080 is kind of your first support, and then below that, you don't want to see it start closing below this 1040 level. That'll start to negate it, but it's a pretty narrow range in the big picture, so it's kind of more of a good breakout setup in my opinion. So I'd be watching for a move up as opposed to kind of jumping in prematurely, or if you really like it on the move down into that 1040, 1050 level, buying right at support would be another alternative with a very tight stop. So Neo still looking pretty good here. VeChain turned out to be a good trade here. I posted this one on the Slack group a week and a half ago prior to this breakout, watching it as a, it's a high probability setup. It's an ascending triangle base after a strong move up. Those look very nice, and that was a good setup. And of course, the breakout happened on well above average volume. So I know several members in the Slack group were on that trade and looking at that here. Big picture though, it is looking a little tired now. You can say this is a breakout, a secondary breakout from an from a cup and handle pattern. Some of you guys might have seen that here. So you had that first breakout, right? You had the prior move up, then it consolidated, made an ascending triangle base. Very nice setup. Second leg up, that paused here, forming a cup and handle setup here, pulling back, breaking out again. But is it going to be a secondary base breakout, or is that kind of the exhaustion buying? That's the question that remains. There is a slight divergence showing up here. If you look at the new price rise, it's not being matched up with the RSI, but it's a slight one, nothing major. MACD, same thing. So nothing, nothing significant. If it does pull back here and it loses the moving average pair, the breakout point of that handle, so call it what is this here on the USD side, call it 0.056 or so. Breaking back below that would start to look like a failed breakout to me from this cup and handle setup here on that 4-hour chart. So but it's been a nice trade. I think the best risk reward setup here was this ascending triangle base, and if you're still holding it, there's really no major sell signals yet, other than, I had that little pullback, a little bit of a secondary breakout, but I'd be watching the downside, make sure it doesn't pull back further than that. On the daily is a little extended. The divergence here on the RSI is a little bit more prominent, seeing some volume coming in, but trend is your friend. It's still above the daily 10 EMA, so like I said, no sell signals yet, but has had a pretty good run already. VeChain, again, one of the China names. A lot of the other China names are showing some good action. Next major resistance, if you want to take the long swing on this, that's way up here, and then way over here is the next one. So it, some of these alts can get going, especially if you really zoom out on these names. I mean, look at this. They've been beaten up. They're coming off the lows. If you go back to VeChain BTC here, I mean, the daily charts were just getting smacked, and a lot of these names were finally finding a low and bottoming out, and they're coming off the lows, right? So this is kind of like the early start of what could potentially turn into a much bigger move. Near term, yeah, there could be some pullback, there could be some profit taking, all that good stuff, but a lot of these alts, got to keep in mind, they've had a significant pullback versus Bitcoin here in the recent months, in the recent year, and it could be time for some good action in the alts. And I'm thinking there will be some good action for the alts as we continue to see them move off the lows here. So let me see what else is on my list here. VeChain, Neo, Nano has been on the run for a while. I was noticing that on the alert system last week. Is that still moving? Nano. Talk about a name from yesteryear, man. These are little guys here. Nano. Yeah. We'll maybe dig into that one first. Let's go to some of the bigger cap. Stellar Lumens. XLM. That one really got kicked off last week when they did the massive coin burn. You know, that kind of juiced things up, kicked things off the lows here. It was already moving. Had that, you know, this one was a tough one, right? Because it was already moving. Had that prior setup here a couple weeks back. Then the big shakedown with a lot of other names once Bitcoin broke out. And then it's been rallying ever since. That this was the coin burn from last week. If you go to the 4-hour chart, a little bit of a breakout already on this. And we set up another cup and handle right here. You can see that pullback, a little bit of a handle right there, starting to edge out now. So definitely looking good. XLM USD, not quite confirming the breakout from that side. And again, that's because Bitcoin has, has pulled back and has not exactly outperformed on the way up here. So this one's just kind of outperforming BTC here. Let's see here. XLM. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of maybe forming a little symmetrical type of setup here, so watching for that. And the way you look at those is if it breaks out above that, bull break, down here, bear break, so could go either way. But the BTC side's looking a little bit better there. One thing that was on my radar here was Quantum. Look at how tight and that narrow and range is getting there. So much like Neo, definitely one to be watching for a breakout setup here. Of course, could move lower, absolutely, but on the way up, definitely watching it for a breakout. Ontology, very similar setup there. Another breakout setup, and a lot of these names have just been sitting real tight and flat after that big move off the lows. Definitely got to keep them on your radar. Don't forget about them. I know they get quiet and they get low and everybody starts forgetting about them, but man, I like charts like this. When they have that massive spike and they start to settle out, moving averages start to catch up, volume starts to really dry up. Oh man, those are some juicy looking setups right there. MACD is starting to tick higher. Doesn't mean they always break out, but you got to pay attention to charts that look like that. Absolutely. So I've initiated some positions on some of those China names, but I'm also going to wait for some breakout confirmation here. Let's see what else is on my radar. We got XMR. Of course, that was the hard fork run up here, starting to look like it's getting some action here over the last week and a half, coming off the lows. A little bit of a double bottom setup here. Not sure if you can quite see that with the volume. Let me pull that up here. But you had that low followed by a second low, and looking like it maybe is starting to test that resistance there, potentially breaking out from that level there on that double bottom. Weekly chart, I mean, Monero has just been beaten up for a long time. This has been in a big pullback here. So nowhere near bullish on the long term, but potentially getting out of that double bottom here on that daily chart versus BTC. How's that looking on the USD side? Monero USD coming off the lows. There's better looking charts out there. Let's see what else is showing up on this radar. Ethland, oh my god, there's a name from yesteryear. They're not even called Ethland anymore, but yeah, there you go. That one showed up last week. I didn't think it'd follow through. Ethland, my goodness. Zcash. Anybody still like Zcash? Oh, just kind of sitting flat there. How's it looking versus BTC? Yeah. I'll pass. RLC. Yep. That one's been going for a while. 0x. Yeah. Had that big move. Remember when 0x was never going down ever again? Had that big move. Kind of, I mean, it found some support, but it's, I don't know, this feels like it's wedging up. I generally don't like these kind of setups when they look like they're forming that little arm. Those look, I don't know. But 0x, Link BTC. This one's looking interesting because it could go a couple of ways. Obviously, you guys are probably seeing this little maybe head and shoulder set up there on the Link side. But if you look at the Link USD, that chart looks much better, a little bit more bullish. Let me clear out all my junk here. but Link USD setting up for a potential breakout here. A little bit of an ascending triangle base starting to form on the daily chart there. So long consolidation there after that strong move off the lows. I'd definitely be keeping an eye on that one. Who else? Cardano's showing up on the radar there. Let's see Cardano coming off the lows here. Cardano's been an interesting one here. Had that symmetrical setup, broke lower, of course, when Bitcoin broke higher. A lot of these BTC pairs did that, but they've been coming back pretty healthily. So is that a word? Healthily? Pretty good. Coming off right here, but it's definitely right at some resistance level here. All in all, it is showing some good relative strength here in the last couple of days. If you go to the 4-hour chart, you know, look at the, you know, off the move here, just kind of edging up, edging up, edging up. I'd be watching that one here. Cardano USD, let's see how that guy looks. A little symmetrical here, just kind of sideways action here for the last couple of days. But yeah, it's starting to build a little bit of momentum here off the lows. Now, big picture, of course, zoom out, big picture, Cardano, you know, and so many of these other names just barely coming off the lows. I mean, they're just, look at this. I mean, just smacked down, but it's been sitting flat here for so long. And if you look at the weekly chart, I mean, this would be a big time break of resistance if it started to finally take out this level here on the higher time frames, the daily or the weekly chart. That'd be a nice reversal off the lows. Definitely one to be watching if you like the project, but you know, no confirmation just yet. Just kind of still sitting off the lows here. Let's see what else is on my radar here. EOS, Monacoin, some KuCoin names, V Systems, Matic. We looked at VeChain, Dash, yeah. Matic, how's Matic looking there? Matic's been marching up nicely. Yeah. Nice little move there. Cool. Let's go to Litecoin. Yeah, Litecoin was showing some good action there. Looking at the LTC, BTC here. I'm gonna go to that weekly chart because, you know, Litecoin had that big move earlier the year and has been kind of back in pullback mode. Maybe finally showing some bottoming action on that long weekly chart here. A little bit of a double bottom type of pattern showing up there. That's the resistance level I'd be watching here. Whoops, wrong marker here. Let me go to the drawing tool. So you got that first low, you got another low here. MACD RSI finally starting to tick higher. So yeah, be watching Litecoin there. If you go to that daily chart, that's the setup to be watching here. Just finally edging out a little bit above resistance. Had that big wick here a couple days back. Try to get going. I'd be watching that one though. Looks like it's looking a little bit better now in terms of bottoming action. Litecoin dollar. Let's see here. I mean, it's still below this resistance here. It's just making lower lows and lower highs. The last major low, or not major low, but the last swing low was this mid 60s range. Then it broke down. You can see this is where we're finding a little bit of a pause as it's bounced off that $40, $50 range, bouncing right into the $60 range. But it is looking better. Volume is coming in, starting to edge higher here a little bit. We'll see where that one goes. Tezos, yeah. Tezos has had that massive move last week. Let me find XTZ. We'll get on Kraken, I guess. Well, no, let's go to Binance here. So massive move, maybe a little bit of a secondary setup here. Interesting looking chart, though. I don't know. It's kind of interesting setup there. I'll be watching maybe a break above that guy there. See if we can break out there. Tezos Doge. Oh yeah, let me see what else we got going on. Let me catch up on the comments here, see what we got. Welcome everybody. If you're just joining, we'll get back to BTC here. I'm gonna make this a relatively short live stream. I was just kind of getting back. If you missed the beginning portion here, was on a little bit of a vacation, a little bit of a break, enjoying some downtime, and didn't really look at the charts. Obviously didn't post any videos or tweets or a whole lot, and just kind of getting back to things, catching up, looking at the charts, seeing what's going on with spastic Bitcoin. Still hasn't followed through, but a lot of the alts are looking a little bit better. The China names are probably still the better of the bunch here. We covered them: Neo, Quantum, Ontology, VeChain. Some of those are looking pretty good there. If we go to Binance Coin, it's been showing some decent action off the lows, following, over the last month or so, just kind of marching higher here. BNB, BTC, looking like a potential breakout here, starting to edge up right at resistance here. So this is kind of the test, see if it can start to hold above that level there. But yeah, there's, it's been an interesting couple of days here. Yeah, I mentioned ETH or land or whatever they call that now. That showed up on my radar here. RLC, we looked at that one already. Let me see here. Matic, Atom was another one of the good trades that I managed to capture there. But Bitcoin, all in all, it's still, the metrics, the technicals are still short term not that positive, right? Short term they're looking weak. Longer term, the daily chart, I'm still holding tight to the daily chart. I'm still thinking, it's worth keeping it on, buying dips, that sort of thing. But it's at a key level here. If it doesn't start to hold up above that 86, 8700 level and reverse soon, because the weekly chart is, starting to get a little long now. We should have had that bullish reversal, a little bit of a pause, and then some follow through to the upside. Haven't seen that follow through. So the fact that the bears have been able to contain this below this prior support level back here, it's kind of giving them a little bit more of a of an upper hand there. But we're in this middle zone. This is where the bulls need to really show up and pop this guy back over that 9500 level. So what's moving right now? Some KuCoin names are moving. Decred's on the move. What? Yeah. So I'm looking on my other screen here, checking out the alerts, see what's going on. Decred, nice little breakout there. Okay. VeChain, we already looked at that. Flow. Oh man, now we're going down. Now we're going down the levels of low volume names. No, we don't want to look at that. Wabi's back. Popping, breaking out again. That daily chart, big breakout there, nice. Let me zoom out here for us. So Wabi had that big run a couple weeks back, pulled back, pausing here right at that daily level. Look at how interesting that is, right? You had that prior run up in September, made some resistance here, pulled back. This most recent run up paused in and around that zone and finally breaking out. And look at the volume on this breakout here today. Very nice. Wabi, small cap, micro cap names, but hey, if you're trading, it's all good as long as the volume's there, the liquidity. What else? I'm just scanning here the alerts real quick. Decred. Yeah, we've already seen FET's been moving for a while. Maybe not. Forest Plus. What the heck is Forest Plus? We won't bother. KuCoin name there. So cool. All right, let's go through some of the other names here you guys got, and we will wrap it up. So let's look at ETH. Nobody's mentioned ETH. So looking at Ethereum here. So zooming out, right? Weekly chart. Maybe finally trying to find another low, and we've seen this happen several times. We see the pullback, makes a double bottom, tries to get going, doesn't happen, pulls back, makes a new low, tries to get going, and so forth. And here we are seeing another attempt at that on this weekly chart. And again, this is the ETH BTC chart, so looking at that pair, potentially a higher low finally starting to form at this interesting resistance level right there. So definitely one I'm watching here on the weekly chart. If Ethereum can start to turn the corner here, start to break out, that generally bodes well for the overall alt space. And so that's why I'm so interested in seeing it start to outperform, show some good action. We're already seeing other names showing some pretty good action versus Bitcoin. We've seen some pretty decent moves, double-digit gains. But I'd like to see Ethereum recapture that 0.23 level and start to take out the next level on the way up. So definitely one to be watching here in the near term. It's had a pretty good little run off bounce, I guess, not run, a little bit of good bounce off the lows. How's it looking on the ETH USD side? Probably not as good considering what Bitcoin's done. Breakout setup here, just kind of sitting tight. This is a very clear level right here, that 194, 195 level. very clear breakout point. So certainly if we start to see Ethereum take that out and start to hold above that, very good news. Next target up would be around 220. Right. Oh, QNT, man, that's, oh yeah, quant, okay. Remember QNT had a pretty good run up. Yeah, a little bit of a symmetrical setup here. It's kind of going neutral, right? You've had a couple of swing lows, swing highs. This is big picture chart. This is the daily view here. So you've got your levels marked out pretty clearly. A move above here, 91.3. That's a bull break. It's showing some support here near term, but definitely don't want to see it get below that guy there. 5,500 or so is what I'd be watching on the downside there. 0x, yeah, 0x showing up on the radar. Here's 0x USD sitting tight, breakout point here. The BTC pair is looking much better. We looked at it just now. It has that little bit of a kind of wedge up on the BTC side, so I'd probably be looking at the USD pair as a little bit more of my cue. See if it could break out of that symmetrical pattern there. On the 0x, we just looked at it here quickly, but don't, you know, I'm watching this wedge. I don't like it. If it breaks below that lower trend line, not going to be positive there. So not writing it off, but certainly one to watch here. Aeon coming off the low. So many, if you zoom out, look at these charts. I mean, my God, they've come off the lows. They've had that long flat tail now. We'll see if they can finally start to balance off this. You know, big picture, you know, is it going to be a sustainable project? Is it going to be one of those, is it worth buying here, hodl, longer term? You know, it could be. It could turn out to be a big move, but you'd want to wait. I mean, in my opinion, I'd be waiting for it to finally show some confirmation breaking out that 1030 level. Then 1200 is your next major target. Then above that, it's got a lot of room to run up to about 2300 before it hits the next major wall. So, you know, it could turn out to be a big mover if it can break above that level. You've got, you know, 25% to there, and then from here, massive move, 100%. Doge, okay, we looked at that. We looked at RCL. We looked at Cardano. We've not looked at XRP. Let's go take a look at the XRP here. Still trending lower. Had that big run up, very nice move a couple weeks back. And then after that massive break, just has not been able to recover from that. Had a bounce attempt here a few days back, trying to get back over that 22 EMA, followed by another pullback here. So I'd be watching that to see if it can finally recapture those moving averages. They're bearishly inverted right now, meaning the 10 EMA is below the 22 EMA. So see if we can find any sort of bounce follow through. Where's the 50 on this guy here? Yeah, it's already moved below the 50 as well. So not a lot of follow through yet to the upside. How's it looking on the dollar pair? Let's go to others. Yeah, it hit the wall right at 32 cents basically. 31.5. So if you're liking it from a breakout perspective, that'd be a big level for it to take out. 31.5. Right. So let me see what else we got here. So we looked at Litecoin, XRP, Quant, RLC, 0x, ICX. I've not seen that guy in a while. Let's see what ICX looks like. And again, generally what I do is when I scan my charts, I've got a routine now that I try to keep it efficient, right? I don't want to just keep staring at charts all day long when I start my day or when I start my week. Generally, I'll do like a week review that's a little bit more in-depth. And then throughout the week, I kind of have some hit lists. I'll keep an eye on a few names, update the watch list accordingly. But generally, the scans are a little bit faster from that point, unless the names just really get going. Bitcoin has a big breakout or something like that. But looking at ICX here, this is the daily chart again. I'm just kind of taking a big picture view first. It's still, I mean, I had that nice move off the lows here a few weeks back, pulling back. So I'd like to see this guy find a low here. That'd be really nice actually, because it starts to form this little pattern of higher lows, higher lows, higher lows on that daily chart. So very near-term resistance the last 3 or 4 days worth of daily highs. If it starts to turn the corner there, that'd be very positive. 1886 or so is what I'd be looking at. ICX USD. Not quite as positive there. Definitely want to see it hold at this point here. If it starts to take out yesterday's low, 1580, still looks negative. That 10 EMA is about to cross bearish, so probably wait for it to close above that. Was at 17 cents or so. That's what I'm looking at. But going back to what I said, I have a. I'm excited to launch this thing here, guys. It's taking a little bit longer than I had hoped, but we've got the new Node Insider site that is quickly making progress, getting ready to launch. But it incorporates a lot of the the proprietary indicators that we use, the BMI, the Bull Momentum Index, a lot of the alerts and all that stuff. And what it does is it actually creates a watch list and a trending list based on some math around a lot of these. We do some additional screens as well to kind of take out some of the noise. And I usually will just start with that. I'll kind of go through the list there. What's Bitcoin doing? Is it positive? Is it bearish, bullish, all that good stuff? And then I'll kind of go through the list and see what else from that list looks good, and very quickly narrow down the list, right? Because there's literally hundreds of names at any one point that you can go look at chart for. And so that helps me to narrow the list down. And then from there, then I have my own kind of generic watch list that I will use on my trading view side. And then I'll kind of go through the charts that way, just to and at that point, it's a quick scan. I mean, I literally will cycle through my watch list to see what's going on, right? ARK, interesting. ARK's kind of trying to break out again. BAT was very strong last week. Bitcoin Cash has been decent here recently, outperforming Bitcoin, looking good there. We looked at BNB already. We looked at BTC already. Decred was on the move again. Alpha Engine, EOS. Somebody was asking about EOS. EOS was looking pretty good here. It did have that breakout from that symmetrical setup here last week. We were watching this pre-breakout. Finally popped, kind of pausing, letting these moving averages catch up. I like the way it looks here personally. I think it's a good secondary entry point. EOS USD. It did have that breakout. This is the level we were watching last week. Broke out, pulled back, still holding above it. So I'd like to see it continue to hold that level here. And again, it's been an interesting one because it was like a little bit of an ascending pattern. Had a breakout, didn't really follow through, just kind of pulled back. You get that secondary entry sometimes, but you want to see it bounce off that and get going. Hasn't really done that. Again, largely due to Bitcoin's price action here, but definitely one to watch. I think it looks pretty good. Who else here? Ethereum Classic, ETH. I like ETH here right now. We looked at ICX, IOTA. Had that big break. I know there was some news on IOTA with the founder dumping. We looked at Chainlink. Let's see, Lisk, Mana, Neo. Still probably the better of the bunch. Neo, Ontology, Quantum. I think those charts look better. Somebody was pointing out Raven here. Raven. Remember when Raven was just on fire? It's maybe finding a low here, but there's no real relative strength just yet. If it starts to take out this level that it's really trying to break above here the last couple of days, that might really change the corner and you might see a quick spike higher. But at this point, it's right at resistance. Certainly worth watching here. It did find some support in the longer term, but not a whole lot there yet. Let's see here. Theta. Tron's looking pretty decent here. Again, like some of the other China names, other than like VeChain, right? But some of the other ones sitting tight, went flat, and definitely worth watching. I mean, because they're just getting quiet, and often that precedes a very strong move. Here's Ontology, watching that one for a breakout. We looked at Neo, so yeah, definitely worth watching some of those names here. What else here? Wanchain, maybe coming off the lows. There's Waves, there's Walton, so bunch of names that I just kind of keep an eye on here in general. But that's how I'll do my scans. I'll usually look at the alerts, see what's going on, set some price alerts, trend line alerts, whatever, and then I just kind of let it go until I get some action or whatever and take positions. Algo, FTM, RCN, TNT. Okay, I'm just kind of cycling through here. We already looked at most of the ones that I've been watching. Monaco, yeah, Crypto.com has been on a tear here lately. And that's it. So going back to Bitcoin, did we look at DX? Yeah, you know, DX keep coming up on my radar. That's a KuCoin name, so I don't have access to it here. But yeah, that one on the alerts has continued to show up a lot. Yeah, Decred did break out. I saw that come across the alerts here right now on the move. Yeah, DX chain was on there last week or a week and a half ago. There was a bunch of smaller cap names too. I was watching Ocean was showing up on the radar for a while. Just was looking at all these names going, what is this? A lot of newer names for me, to be honest. But that's it. So if I had to narrow it down, some of the bigger names that I'd be watching on the big cap list, you know, XLM has been very strong. That one's definitely worth keeping an eye on for some sort of pullbacks there. EOS, I like the way it's looking. I think ETH is looking pretty good here versus Bitcoin. Want to see that guy break out. I think that'd be very positive for the overall alt space. The stronger setups right now are probably the China names, right? So names like Neo looking good there, probably the better looking chart. VeChain, I think that trade's probably played out. Could keep going, but you know, the quick trade was there already, so I'd wait for a pullback there. Ontology, another one in the same camp, setting up tight. Hasn't quite broken out yet like Neo. Definitely worth watching. Quantum, I think, looks good. I'm liking the way that one's setting up real tight, so definitely worth watching that guy there. Link USD. Now, Link Bitcoin, not quite as strong, but Link USD, definitely worth watching that ascending triangle set up here on that USD pair. Early entry would probably be right here at 285, right? That'd be kind of the early breakout point. What were some of the other ones here really quickly? Let me go my other chart here. Neo, Litecoin, EOS, Wabi, Matic. What's this top BMI name showing? So top BMI names. Wabi, Algo, ARN, Neo, Dash, Bitcoin Cash. Let's go look at ARN. That's a name from yesteryear. Yeah, not quite there yet. Dash, Bitcoin Cash, Decred, Flow. Oh yeah, we looked at that one already. It's low cap, low volume names, and a bunch of KuCoin names. So those are the names I'd be watching this, you know, kind of entering the week here. Things change, of course, new things will crop up, but those are the handful of names that I'm keeping an eye on as we start the next week. But it's going to be interesting to see what Bitcoin does here this week. You know, it's got to break out of this zone here soon. So want to see this one bounce. I don't want to see it breach that 8,600 level on a closing basis. If it does, I will start to change my mind on how bullish it looked off of that low from a few weeks ago. On the upside, you know, first level you want to see it take out, got to get back above 9,200, and then getting over that 9,500 would be a big win for the bulls. So certainly something I would be keeping an eye on there. But the alts are probably showing more potential right now, more life, and so I've been leaning more in favor of the alts at that point. So, all right, oh, cool. Well, that's going to be it for today, guys. I've been at it here for a while, kind of just getting back to it. It's my Monday. It's about 5:40 p.m. I'm thinking I'm probably good to call it a day, head home, get some food, maybe watch some Monday Night Football, and see y'all in the morning. So that's going to be it for today, guys. Thanks for being here as always. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the comments. And we'll see you all in the next one.